So, a problem has occurred with my commands. After looking into it, I discovered that Minecraft had updated the execute command, and basically now all the commands I used in my videos don't work anymore. So instead of remaking each and every video, I decided to just put it all in one video. You can use the timestamps to find what you are looking for. I will be explaining the execute command and remaking the hasitem, world painter, and flooding command. As for Pac-Man, Squid Game, and random danger, it seems some command blocks still function after the upgrade, but I will be remaking the commands for those in a different video. Firstly, I should explain what execute even does. Commands like fills an area with blocks. TP teleports entities. Kills entities. But normally, the properties of the player or command block who uses the command is used, such as the executioner name, coordinates, facing, and so on. But with execute, you can change the executioner so that the command inherits the properties of the new executioner, even custom properties, as well as combinations of different entities' properties and/or custom properties. Originally, execute would completely take on all properties of the new executioner, but now you have to select what properties you want of the new executioner, as well if you want to change the properties, or even ask an if question to determine if the execute should be successful. As at run. On the old command, it was always execute entity xyz command. Now if you want that same result, you need to type in execute as entity at itself run command. As changes the executioner. At changes the coordinates, facing, and dimension. After making all property changes, you need to type in run so the command knows when to start the new command. After that, there are a few new options, namely, align, anchored, facing, in, positioned, rotated, if, and unless. Align will round the current coordinates down. For instance, if the coordinates are this, then execute align as will turn the coordinates into that. Anchored. By default, the anchored is at the feet. To change it to the eyes, say, anchored eyes. This will change the execution coordinates from the feet to the eyes. Facing will change the looking direction of the command. The direction can be either a specific coordinates or an entity's coordinates. If you pick entity, you will have to specify whether to use the entity's eyes or feet. In will execute the command in the specified dimensions such as the overworld, nether, end, as well as custom dimensions. It will scale the coordinates accordingly, like how 1 block in the nether is 8 blocks in the overworld. It can also be used to teleport someone to a specific dimension. Positioned changes the coordinates without changing the facing or dimension. Rotated. Similar to facing, this will change the looking direction of the command, but it uses degrees in rotation or by copying another entity's rotation. The facing command can only create a facing direction by looking at specific coordinates or entity. With rotation, you have yaw and pitch. With yaw, O is south in the positive z direction, 90 is west in the negative x direction, 180 is north in the negative z direction, 270 is east in the positive x direction, 360 is back south in the positive z direction, negative 90 is east in the positive x direction. With pitch, O is horizontal, 90 is down, negative 90 is up. If and unless. Similar to target selectors, this will allow you to specify what target to select. There are currently for in Bedrock, block, blocks, entity, and score. Block will test for a specific block at a specified coordinate. Blocks will compare blocks into specified areas. Entity will test whether a different entity exists with any target selectors you chose. Hasitem. It still works the same, and because the update has still not added NBT data tags to entities, hasitem is still necessary to detect held items and other inventory items. Hasitem has 5 data tags to identify an item in inventory, namely, item, data, quantity, location, and slot. Item equals the item you are testing for. Data equals a number for variations of that item, such as different potions, colored wool, and stones. Quantity equals the amount of that item you want to test for. Location equals where the item is located, like hotbar, armor, inventory, or ender chest. Slot equals the number of the slot. If you picked a location with several slots, you can use slot to identify the right slot. Normally, the hasitem looks like this, with the tags going in the curly brackets. But you can test for more than one item by simply add a comma in another curly brackets. World Painter. This is a fun command that I once saw on OMG Craft. The command allows you to copy an area and paste it in front of you so that you can mass produce land, or whatever you want. What you first want to do is create the paint that you will use. The command looks like this. The item can be replaced with anything you want to use as the brush. Next we have positioned with 3 caret symbols and a number. The number represents the distance in front of you that the execute will run. For 20 it will execute 20 blocks in the facing direction. Then you run a clone command, which will copy the paint you made. To get the coordinates, you need to look at your paint and pick a point. The point does not matter. Just pick a point. Get the X, Y, and Z of that point. You can get a point's coordinates by switching coordinates on and looking at the top left. Or you can look at the block at the point, and the suggestions will give you the coordinates of the block you are looking at. Once you have the X, Y, and Z of that point, you need to pick another point. That point needs to be on the opposite side of the original so that the X, Y, and Z movements encase the entire build. For a 3D build, you need 3 coordinate changes. For 2D, you need 2, and 1D, you need 1. You can also change the paint to update it in real time. Another command that can be useful is to make a new command, change the item, and run a fill to erase what you have made. Just be careful, there is no undo, so if you use this, make a backup. Flood. This command allows you to turn flowing water into water source blocks. This will make a 31 by 31 by 31 area around the player that will turn flowing water into source blocks. In a previous video I explained why it can't go on infinitely, so unfortunately, you will have to fly around as you are flooding the world. One thing that makes this command better than a normal fill water replace air is because it will only fill water where water can flow. This will allow you to quickly fill an area without having to worry about the certain areas getting flooded, as long as you block the water from flowing. This command also works with lava. Just use lava in the command instead of water.